The arena was loud. Bright lights flashed everywhere, and the crowd made a noise that seemed to shake the ground. Jae-wook Kim stood still, his eyes fixed on the massive holographic screen above. His hands were calm, but his heart was racing. Around him, dozens of alien species watched with excitement. Some had 6 eyes, some had smooth blue skin, some looked like walking plants, but they all wanted to see the same thing: the most important pet battle tournament in the galaxy. Jae-wook was different from other trainers. He was human, and humans were still new to these big galactic competitions. Most alien teams looked down on human competitors. They thought humans were too young, too simple, and not smart enough to compete at this level. But Jae-wook had something special. Next to him stood Shadowstrike, a creature that made even the most experienced alien trainers look twice. Shadowstrike was not a normal pet. He was something else entirely. The creature moved with a strange mix of power and grace. His body looked like it was made from different animal parts. His skin shifted colors like a living shadow, and his eyes seemed to understand more than any normal animal could. When Shadowstrike breathed, a low rumble came from deep inside him, a sound that made other creatures take a step back. Competitor 217, prepare for entry, a computerized voice announced. Jae-wook touched Shadowstrike's side. No words were spoken, but something passed between them. A connection. An understanding that went beyond normal trainer and pet relationships. In the waiting area, other competitors watched them. Most looked worried. Some looked curious. A few looked angry. Humans were not supposed to be this good at pet battling. It was not fair, they thought. Among the watchers was Zora, the most famous pet trainer in the galaxy. She was from the Vril species, a race known for their powerful mental abilities. Her current champion stood beside her, a crystal-like creature that seemed to change shape with every breath. Zora's eyes were cold. She studied Jae-wook and Shadowstrike like they were a puzzle she needed to solve. Something about them was different. Something was not right. The arena floor was massive. It could change quickly, becoming a desert, a jungle, or an icy landscape in seconds. Each battle would test not just the pets, but also the trainer's ability to adapt. Jae-wook's team would be the 5th to enter today. The previous 4 battles had been brutal. One team had been completely destroyed in less than 3 minutes. Another had surrendered before the battle even started. Shadowstrike did not move much, but every small movement showed strength. His muscles seemed to be made of living steel. His claws could cut through metal. His brain could solve problems faster than most computers. "Ready?" Jae-wook whispered. Shadowstrike's eyes flashed. It was not a normal look. It was a look that said he was ready for anything. A holographic screen showed their information. Jae-wook Kim. Human. Team. Shadowstrike. Origin. New Soul Colony. Suddenly, the arena floor changed. It became a rocky landscape with high cliffs and deep valleys. Perfect for a battle that would test every skill, every ability. The crowd went silent. Something big was about to happen. 5 years earlier, deep inside a secret laboratory, everything was white and clean. Machines beeped. Scientists in bright suits moved carefully between glass containers. This was not a normal place. This was where impossible things were made. Jae-wook Kim was not always a pet trainer. He used to be a scientist, a special kind of scientist who worked on creating new life forms. His job was to make creatures that could do things no one thought possible. In the middle of the laboratory, a small creature moved. It was not cute. It was not something you would want as a pet. Its body looked like it was made from different animal parts. A tail from a big cat, scales from a lizard, eyes that seemed too smart for an animal. Project Shadowstrike. A computer screen showed. Genetic Experiment 42B. The creature was small then, but the scientists knew it would grow. They had mixed DNA from different animals. A Siberian tiger's strength, a Komodo dragon's hunting skills. They added something else too, special computer codes that could help the creature think and learn faster than any normal animal. Jay-Wook watched the creature carefully. Other scientists wanted to make weapons. They wanted to create the perfect fighting machine. But Jay-Wook saw something different. He saw a living being. Something that could think, something that could feel. One night, everything changed. The laboratory was going to be closed. The government said the project was too dangerous. All the special creatures would be destroyed, killed, removed from existence. Jay-Wook made a choice that would change everything. When no one was looking, he took the small creature. He put it in a special bag that could hide life signs. No alarms went off. No cameras saw him. He walked out of the laboratory like nothing had happened. Outside, the world was different. Cities reached into the sky. Flying cars moved between buildings. But Jay-Wook did not care about any of that. He looked at the small creature in his bag. "I will keep you safe," he whispered. The first months were hard. The creature was not easy to take care of. It grew fast. It was strong. It broke things. It could think in ways no one expected. Jay-Wook had to learn how to be a parent and a teacher at the same time. He taught Shadowstrike rules, how to control his power, how to understand different situations. It was like teaching a very smart, very dangerous child. Other people would have been scared. But Jay-Wook saw something special in Shadowstrike, a brain that could solve problems, a heart that could understand feelings, a body that could do impossible things. Slowly, Shadowstrike changed. He was not just a weapon anymore. He was a partner, a friend, something that could think and feel and make choices. When Jay-Wook started training for pet battles, Shadowstrike was ready. He had learned more than any normal creature could learn. He understood strategy. He could predict what other creatures would do. The laboratory where he was born was gone, destroyed. But Shadowstrike kept growing, kept learning, kept becoming something more than anyone had ever planned. And now, in the big arena, everything would be tested. Everything would be shown to the galaxy. The first round of the tournament was chaos. Creatures from different planets fought in ways humans had never seen before. A team from the water planet Aquarius came first. Their pet was a blob-like creature that could turn into liquid and solid in seconds. It moved through the arena like water, changing shape and attacking from impossible angles. The crowd cheered when it won. Next, a rocky creature from the mineral world of Granite Prime entered. It looked like a walking mountain. Its body was made of sharp crystal pieces that could break into smaller parts and then come back together. When it moved, the ground shook. Jay-Wook watched carefully. Shadowstrike stood silent beside him, watching too. Other trainers looked nervous. Some looked scared, but Shadowstrike looked calm. Too calm. The fourth match was the most brutal. A spider-like creature from a dark planet fought against a flying beast with 10 wings. They moved so fast that most watchers could not see what was happening. Pieces of the arena floor broke. Energy weapons fired. In the end, only the flying beast remained. Then it was their turn. Competitor 217, enter the arena, the computer voice announced. Jay-Wook walked forward. Shadowstrike moved beside him, not like a pet, but like a partner. Their steps were the same. Their breathing was the same. They moved as one thing. The arena floor changed again. This time, it became a place with high rocks and deep valleys. Some parts looked like Earth's desert. Some parts looked like an alien landscape with purple sand and blue rocks. Their first opponent was a team from the planet Crimson. Their pet was a creature with 4 arms and skin that could change color like a chameleon. It could become invisible in seconds. The battle started fast. The crimson creature jumped, trying to use its invisibility. But Shadowstrike was different. He did not just use eyes to see. He used other senses. He could feel the creature's movement in the air. He could hear its breathing. Before the invisible creature could attack, Shadowstrike was already moving. His body twisted. His claws came out. He was faster than anyone expected. One hit. That was all it took. The crimson creature flew across the arena. It hit a rock wall and fell down. The match was over in less than 1 minute. The crowd was quiet for a moment. Then they started to make noise. Some cheered. Some looked shocked. Some looked angry. Zora, watching from the side, did not move. Her crystal pet changed shape slowly, like it was thinking, watching, waiting. Jay-Wook did not celebrate. He looked at Shadowstrike. They touched each other lightly. No words were needed. They both knew what had happened. This was just the beginning. The next rounds would be harder. The next battles would test everything they had learned, everything they were. In the waiting area, other teams looked at them differently now. The humans were not a joke anymore. They were something to be afraid of. Shadowstrike looked around the arena. His eyes saw everything. His brain was already planning the next move, the next battle. The first round was over, but the real test was just starting. The second round was different. Everyone knew about Jay-Wook and Shadowstrike now. They were not newcomers anymore. They were a team to be feared. Zora watched them closely. She was from the Vril species, creatures known for their powerful mind abilities. Her crystal pet beside her seemed to breathe with her. They were connected in a way most could not understand. The arena changed again. This time, it looked like a broken city, destroyed buildings, crashed ships, broken machines everywhere. It was a place that showed what happened after a big war. Their next opponent was a team from the planet Nexus 9. Their pet was something strange. It looked like a cloud that could become solid. One moment it was gas. The next moment it was hard like steel. It could read minds. It could change its shape faster than anyone could see. When the battle started, something weird happened. The cloud creature tried to enter Shadowstrike's mind. It wanted to show fear. It wanted to make Shadowstrike see terrible things. Things that would make him want to run away. But Shadowstrike was different. Instead of being scared, he pushed back. His mind was not like other animal minds. It was part computer, part animal, part something else. The cloud creature could not understand him. Jay-Wook stood calm. Other trainers would have been worried. But he trusted Shadowstrike. They had practiced this. They had trained for this. The cloud creature started to show images, terrible images of destruction, of pain, of losing everything. Normal pets would have stopped moving. Normal pets would have been scared. But Shadowstrike did something unexpected. He laughed, not with sound, but with his mind. The cloud creature was shocked. No one had ever laughed at its mind tricks before. Jay-Wook smiled. Just a small smile. But it was enough. Shadowstrike moved. His body became like water and steel at the same time. He was not just fighting. He was teaching a lesson. One hit. The cloud creature broke into pieces. It could not understand what had just happened. The match was over in 2 minutes. In the waiting area, other teams looked scared. Zora looked interested. Her crystal pet changed colors slowly. Like it was thinking. Like it was learning. Humans are not normal. One alien trainer said to another. They are something else. After the battle, Jay-Wook checked Shadowstrike. No words were needed. They touched each other. They both knew what they had done. The tournament was getting harder. Each battle was different. Each battle would test everything they knew. Shadowstrike looked around the arena. His eyes saw everything. His brain was already planning. Always planning. Zora continued to watch. Her mind was working fast. She was learning. She was planning her own move. The next battle would be the hardest one yet. The semi-final match was nothing like the other battles. This was different. This was special. Zora's team stepped into the arena first. Her crystal pet looked like it was made of light and shadow. It could change shape faster than any computer could track. One moment it was small. The next moment it covered half the arena. The arena floor became a nightmare landscape. rocks that moved, ground that changed color, shadows that seemed alive. This was not a normal fighting place. This was a battle that would test everything. Jay-Wook and Shadowstrike entered slowly. They were not worried. They were ready. Zora's crystal pet started its attack. It created impossible things, fake worlds, fake enemies. It made things that were not real that felt completely real. Most pets would have gone crazy. Most would have given up. But Shadowstrike was different. He understood something that other creatures did not. These were just tricks, just images, just sounds. The crystal pet created a world of fire, flames everywhere, burning, destroying. Most creatures would have stopped moving, would have been scared. Shadowstrike walked through the fire. It was not real fire. It was just a trick. His brain knew this. His body knew this. Jay-Wook watched carefully. Other trainers were shocked. How could something walk through fire that looked so real? The crystal pet tried something else. It made a world of ice, cold that could freeze anything, wind that could cut like knives, a place where nothing could live. Shadowstrike kept moving. His body was special, part computer, part animal, part something new. He could understand things other creatures could not. The battle was not about fighting. It was about thinking, about understanding. Zora was surprised. Her crystal pet was the best in the galaxy. No one had ever beaten its mind tricks before. No one had ever walked through its worlds. Shadowstrike did something unexpected. He started to copy the crystal pet's tricks. He made his own worlds, his own images, but his were different. His were smarter. The arena became a place of impossible things, worlds inside worlds, images that change, sounds that had no source. Other trainers could not understand what was happening. This was not a normal battle. This was something else. One moment, Shadowstrike was there. The next moment, he was everywhere and nowhere. The crystal pet tried to fight back, but it could not. Shadowstrike was learning faster than it could create new tricks. Then, in one moment, it was over. Shadowstrike touched the crystal pet. Just one touch. The crystal pet broke. Not with fighting, not with power, but with understanding. It had met something it could not understand. The crowd was quiet. Then they started to make noise. Some cheered. Some looked scared. Some looked like they had seen something impossible. Zora did not move. Her face showed nothing. But her eyes showed something else. Respect. Maybe even fear. Jay-Wook and Shadowstrike walked off the arena. They did not celebrate. They did not show emotion. They had won. But this was not the end. The final battle was coming. The night before the final battle was quiet. Jay-Wook sat in a small room. Around him were pictures. One picture was special. It showed a young girl. Her name was Hai-Jin. She was Jay-Wook's sister, but she was not like other people. Hai-Jin was sick, very sick. She had a special disease that no normal doctor could fix. Her body was weak. Her bones were breaking. Her blood was not working right. The doctors had told Jay-Wook something hard to hear. Hai-Jin needed special treatment. A treatment that cost more money than most people would make in 10 lifetimes. Shadowstrike sat next to Jay-Wook. He was not just a pet. He was more than that. He understood. He could feel. "We have to win," Jay-Wook whispered. The tournament prize was more than just a trophy. It was hope. The prize included special medical technologies. Technologies that could save Hai-Jin's life. Jay-Wook remembered the day he found out about his sister's illness. He was working in the laboratory. His phone rang. His mother was crying. The doctors had bad news. Most people would have given up. Most people would have been sad. But Jay-Wook was different. He decided to enter the most dangerous pet battle tournament in the galaxy. He knew it was the only way to get the money. The only way to save his sister. Shadowstrike understood this. Their connection was not just about fighting. It was about saving a life. In the small room, Jae-wook looked at his sister's picture. Hai-jin was smiling. She did not look sick in this picture. She looked happy. She looked strong. "I will bring you home," Jae-wook said to the picture. Shadowstrike moved closer. He touched Jae-wook's hand. Not like a pet. Like a friend. Like family. Outside the room, the galaxy was waiting. The final battle was coming. Everything would be decided tomorrow. Hai-jin's picture continued to smile. She did not know what was happening, but something was going to change. Jae-wook closed his eyes. He remembered why he was here. It was not about winning. It was about saving his sister. Shadowstrike watched. His eyes were not normal eyes. They could see more. They could understand more. The night was quiet, but something big was coming. The final battle would change everything. Jae-wook's hand touched Shadowstrike. No words were needed. They both knew what they had to do. Save Hai-jin. Win the tournament. Beat everyone who thought humans were weak. Tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow, everything would change. The final battle was nothing like anyone expected. The arena changed completely. It became a world inside a world. Rocks that floated. Water that moved up instead of down. Colors that changed by themselves. This was not a normal place. This was a place where anything could happen. Zora entered first. Her crystal pet was different now. It had learned from the last battle. It was not going to make the same mistakes again. The crystal creature looked like living light. It could become anything. A weapon, a shield, a world, something that most creatures could not understand. Jae-wook and Shadowstrike entered slowly. They were not worried. They were ready. The first attack came fast. The crystal pet created 1,000 copies of itself. Each copy looked real. Each copy could attack. Most teams would have been confused. Most would have given up. But Shadowstrike was different. He did not look with his eyes. He looked with his brain, a brain that was part computer, part animal, part something new. One copy was real. The others were just tricks. Shadowstrike moved. His body changed. He was not just an animal. He was a living weapon. Jae-wook watched. His hand moved, not touching anything, just moving. He and Shadowstrike were connected in a way no one could understand. The crystal pet tried everything. It created worlds of pain, worlds of fear, worlds that would break most creatures. But Shadowstrike walked through them, like they were nothing. Other trainers watched. Their mouths were open. This was not a normal battle. This was something else. The crystal pet was smart. It had beaten hundreds of teams before. It knew every trick, every move. But it had never met Shadowstrike. Shadowstrike did something unexpected. He started to copy the crystal pet, but not just copy. Improve. Make better. The arena became a place of impossible things. Worlds inside worlds. Images that changed faster than thought. Zora tried to use her mind powers. She tried to break Shadowstrike's brain. But she could not. His mind was different. Protected. One moment, the battle looked like it was going one way. The next moment, everything changed. Shadowstrike moved in ways no one could understand. He was everywhere and nowhere. The crystal pet tried to fight back. But it was too late. In one moment, everything stopped. Shadowstrike touched the crystal pet. Just one touch. The crystal pet broke. Not with power, not with fighting, but with something else. With understanding. It had met something it could not beat. The crowd was quiet. Then they started to make noise. Some cheered. Some looked scared. Some looked like they had seen something impossible. Zora did not move. Her face showed nothing. But her eyes showed respect. Maybe even fear. Jae-wook and Shadowstrike walked off the arena. They did not celebrate. They did not show emotion. They had won. But this was about more than winning. This was about hope. about saving a life, about showing the galaxy what humans could do. The awards ceremony was not like other ceremonies. It was quiet, different. Jay-Wook stood on the big stage. Shadowstrike was next to him. They did not look like a trainer and a pet. They looked like partners, like family. The galaxy's most important leaders were watching. Alien species from 100 different worlds. Some looked angry. Some looked excited. Some looked scared. First place goes to Jay-Wook Kim and Shadowstrike, the announcer said. A big box was brought to the stage. Inside was something more important than a trophy. Inside was hope for Hai-Jin. The medical technology was special. It could fix things that no other treatment could fix. It could save lives that everyone thought were lost. Zora watched from the side. Her crystal pet was different now. Changed. It had learned something from the battle. Something about humans. Something about life. Humans are not what we thought. One alien leader whispered to another. They are something else. Shadowstrike looked around the arena. His eyes saw everything. His brain was always working, always thinking. The prize was big, more than just winning, more than just money. This was about showing the galaxy what humans could do. After the ceremony, Jay-Wook went to a special communication room. He called his mother. The picture showed a small hospital room. Hai-Jin was there. She looked weak, but she was smiling. I won, Jay-Wook said. His mother cried. Not sad tears, happy tears. Shadowstrike watched. He understood more than a normal pet could understand. He knew what this meant. The medical technology would save Hai-Jin. She would get better. She would live. Outside the communication room, alien reporters were talking. Cameras were everywhere. The human team changed everything. One reporter said. They showed something new. Zora approached Jay-Wook after the ceremony. Most trainers would have been scared, but Jay-Wook was not most trainers. You are different, Zora said. Her words meant more than just the battle. Shadowstrike moved closer to Jay-Wook. Not like a pet, like a protector, like a friend. The tournament was over, but something else was beginning. The galaxy would never be the same. Humans had shown they were more than anyone thought. More than just a young species. More than just newcomers. They were something else. In the hospital, far away, Hai-Jin looked at a picture of her brother. She did not know all the details, but she knew something big had happened. Something that would change everything. Jay-Wook looked at Shadowstrike. No words were needed. They both knew what they had done. They had won more than a tournament. They had given hope. They had shown the galaxy what was possible. And this was just the beginning.